What up, folks? What's going on? Welcome to the Spun Today podcast. I'm your host, Tony Ortiz, and this is episode number 47 of the Spun Today podcast. I'm recording it on Saturday, May 7th, and it will be released May 19th. Reason being for recording it so much in advance is that I'm going away next weekend for a little road trip. Book sales for Make Way For You done slowed up, so can't pay for that dream Europe vacation just yet. And I'm going with my fiance and brother and sister-in-law to Florida on a little road trip from New York, which I'm looking forward to. Should be dope. And we're gonna make some stops along the way. Gonna go through Philly, chill there for a little bit, shoot down to South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, and chill there for a couple days, and then go down to Orlando and chill there for the rest of the week, and then Savannah, Georgia, and then shoot back up to New York. So I didn't want to leave you guys high and dry. Obviously, the show must go on, regardless of anything. And that's why I'm recording this episode in advance. Looking forward to it. And I like driving. I remember when my girl lived in Massachusetts, which she did for some time, long fucking time, like 4 years of our relationship. She lived there, I lived here, and we would take turns, her coming down, me going up, and I enjoyed it. It was only like a 3.5 hour drive versus a fucking 20-hour drive. Even though, spacing it out, making a few stops along the way. But there's something about like just driving in the open road, and if you got the right podcasts on, like Spun Today podcast, or the right music on, like the right vibe going on, and it's like therapeutic, and you just get into like a Zen type of trance, like while you do it. I don't know, I like it, so I'm looking forward to it. Just for that purpose of, seeing different things and the actual physical driving part of it, and just a little getaway, don't have to go to work, and just break the monotony up a little bit. So anyway, that's what's going on with me. And by the time you guys are listening to this, I will be about to start heading back, but still in Orlando. So if you guys don't hear another episode 2 weeks after this one, then things didn't go too well. And that's pretty much it. What was I going to talk about? All right. So this episode is going to be a little bit shorter. Most likely. Even though every time I say that, I'm so fucking long-winded that they wind up being long. But I don't have much to speak about. I have 2 things to share. This is going to be a free writing session episode where I'm gonna do something a little bit different, and let me know what you guys think about it when I do. But before that, I just wanted to mention the Obama's last and final correspondence dinner, which aired recently. Was pretty dope. It was pretty cool. He's definitely first of all, for those of you that don't know, like the Correspondence Dinner, he does it like every year. And, there's celebrities and press and politicians and stuff like that. And it's him pretty much doing like a little stand-up routine and a dinner. And this was his last one. And it was pretty dope. He has like actual like comics or comedic writers like write jokes for him, and he works with them on the jokes. And during this time period, he's commander-in-chief, and he actually famously, one of the correspondence dinners, he was doing it, and he did it while the raid was taking place, where SEAL Team 6 took out bin Laden and killed bin Laden. Like when he gave like the green light for that, he then turned around, did what he had to do when the mission started or whatever. I'm sure you guys have seen like images of them in the Situation Room. And then while that's going on, he went to this correspondence dinner thing and just flipped the switch and told jokes, which is a pretty impressive thing to be able to do. To compartmentalize like that and then execute on both ends like pretty dopely. He's not a stand-up, but he's funny. He has pretty decent timing when you compare him to some stand-up people. I'm no fucking stand-up connoisseur or anything like that, but he made me laugh a bunch. And he's definitely, without a doubt, the coolest fucking president that we've had. Say, you don't have to like him. You don't have to think his policies were successful, even though they're more like long-term plays, in my opinion. Some of, like the healthcare thing and things like that. So you shouldn't see, too many immediate benefits, even though you do. But, people always want more than what they get. History's going to look upon him well, I think, in a lot of respects. But anyway, whether you like him or not, whatever, you can't, without a doubt, he's the coolest fucking president. Broke the mold of that, stuffy, fucking, not nerdy, but like just stuffy, robotic style fucking person that holds that position traditionally. Fuck Cool Calvin Coolidge, fucking Bill Clinton was cool, but not even him. Obama's definitely the coolest president that we've ever had, and probably will for a while. And I'm gonna miss that fucking dude. Anyway, it's a dope. He even did at the end, just so out of character, so like out of character for this. Is how cool he is. Like the whole, like Kobe did it when he gave his final speech, the whole Mamba out, dropping the mic thing. He did that, and he said Obama out at the end and drops the mic. Like that's I could just imagine like so many like John McCain or something in the audience, like, why do you drop the microphone? What is that? Somebody pick it up for him. But it was pretty dope. Anyway, I'm gonna link to it in the episode notes. You guys should check it out. I thought it was pretty funny, and it's like a half hour's worth of just Obama, telling jokes and shit. So it was pretty cool. And yeah, that is pretty much what I had to speak about. That's the episode. No, I'm joking. That is what I had to speak about, though. All I had to speak about before getting into the free writing shit, which again is going to be a little different in the sense that normally I point you guys towards spuntoday.com/free writing, so you can check out the actual text of what I'm going to read, which is an old free writing piece that I've written some time ago and posted onto the site, and then I read it with you guys on air, as and reflect on it and see if I still feel the same way, because some things I wrote them years ago and some things a few days ago, so just reflect on it, see how it hits me like in that moment and shit like that, and just bring you along on that little writing process, I guess. Or not writing process, but whatever. You guys know the deal with that. What I'm going to do this time is a little bit more of bringing you into the writing process, because I'm going to read to you guys free writing, but for a short story that I just started literally yesterday, Friday. And it's not done. It's not on the site yet because it's not done, obviously. And like I've mentioned before, I start everything that I write longhand. And I start it in like free writing form. Like I just like let the story pour out of me. And it is, you know what I mean? Like it is what it is. Like I might have like a general idea of what I want to write about. But I just like go with the flow and get in a free writing mindset and just let it out and throw it up all over the page. And it's usually not good. No, but that's how I start everything. and then then I transcribe it onto the computer, and at that point is when I'll like self edit, and as I'm transcribing it, and yeah, it's pretty much my process, and I don't do a lot of rewrites. Like, I guess that in itself, the process of transcribing would count as a rewrite. But I know, everybody has their own style, right? A lot of writers, work with editors, which eventually in the future I plan to do, just to see what that process is like, and gain insight from how they approach the editing process, which I imagine is very different from self editing. But something like this, like a little short story that I'm going to put on my site, is not what you would want their services for. That's like for a novel type shit, or novella or something like that, in my opinion. But what was my point? Where was I going with this? So that in itself is a rewrite, I guess, but I don't change much, if anything at all, when I transcribe. Obviously spelling errors and line edits like that, but structure and story wise, it's usually pretty much whatever I poured out of me like the first time, if not exact, very close to it. So, and I guess you guys can call me on that, and we'll see if with this particular story it's different or not when it eventually does finish showing itself, if you will. And I post it on the site, which I'll do another follow-up episode to that, and do the whole audiobook for that short story when it is complete, like I have done for all the other short stories, which you can check out at spuntoday.com/short stories. And if you're listening to this podcast right now, you can go into the podcast feed, the archives, and check out any of the other short stories. The podcast, like the title of the actual episodes, would be the name of the actual short story, and in parentheses it'll say audiobook. So you guys can check those out. I read them, like I try to be like all professional and shit, and read it like a actual audiobook, and I throw in some sound effects to enhance the experience and stuff like that. So if you're interested, check those out. So I thought it would be interesting to share with you guys, anybody that's following along with me on this writing journey, just a little twist to the whole writing process thing. And I don't know, so you guys could take a look if you're interested, or take a listen rather. And that's pretty much it. I was thinking of it's like a famous Michelangelo quote, which I'm going to misquote, but he pretty much says, and this is you guys could Google this, like, if you want, like, the exact quote, but based on one of the stories in Mastery by Robert Greene, he states that Michelangelo rather says that he, and he's the guy that like sculpted like a shitload of statues and stuff like that. Like the statue of David is like a famous statue or whatever. He said that he didn't see the way he approached his sculpting wasn't turning a rock into the statue of David. It was, he saw the statue of David within the stone, and he says that all stones have their sculptures within them. You just have to move the rock out of the way. All right. And I thought that was pretty dope. And I see a what's the word I'm looking for? Like, that is, like, you could relate that type of, like, there's a similar sentiment in something that Stephen King said about writing in his book On Writing, where he says that every story exists already, similar to how Michelangelo said that the sculpture already exists within the rock. Stephen King says that every story exists, and the writer's job is to, like an archaeologist, um, unearthing fossils, like a very, very fragile fossil. They have to brush away the dirt and allow the fossil to emerge and to be seen. Similarly, a writer has to let the story be the vessel for the story to come out, type of thing. And I think, like, I see like a similar sentiment there. And I don't know what my point was to bring those two things up, but I guess, well, it ties into, like, I feel the same way, basically. And it's the way I write, the way, like I just told you guys, like, I free write everything. And pretty much anything that I've written stays in its first draft form, just, like, cleaned up a bit, but no, like, drastic changes and stuff like that, which, whatever, that's the way I do shit right now. And again, there's no right or wrong way. It's just a stylistic thing, and that's how the stuff comes out of me. So let me give you guys a little background to this. This is a story that, before I read it to you guys, I don't have much of it, by the way. I have 2.5 pages worth. And I'm going to read it to you guys straight out of my notebook. But let me give you a little background. This is I got the idea for this story from a dream. And the dream was, I vaguely remember the dream right now. The dream was, oh, you know where? I wrote myself a note for the dream. Oh, look, perfect. Let me just read this. Like, within the story, I boxed out a little section and I wrote, idea came from a dream of being at some sort of mall parking lot and nukes coming out from under the ground. And when I woke up, I wondered, what if I took pictures and then a few days later, while going through my phone, realized that the pictures I took in my dream were actually in my phone. So in my dream, that didn't happen because I woke up before that happened. But I was thinking about taking pictures, like, in my dream of these. We were, like, in a mall parking lot and walking towards the car, but then we hear, like, some rumbling or feel some rumbling, and, like, pretty much the ground, like, I don't know, so the vessel covers fucking slide open, and we just see two nukes, or I guess what we assumed were nukes, so two fucking huge missiles, like in Weird Science when they come through the house and, you know, start, like, pointing upwards, and, like, through the kitchen and the bedroom and stuff like that. Like, two nukes just come up like that from the ground. And then I was thinking of taking pictures, and I never got to that point in the dream, and then I wound up waking up. And then after I woke up, I had the idea of, imagine I would have taken pictures in the dream of the nukes like I was planning to within the dream, and then the pictures were actually in my phone. Like, I pulled something from the dream into reality, like on some Freddy Krueger shit. And for some reason, that seemed like it would make for an interesting story. I didn't know what the story was or is, but I'm doing my archaeological best to unearth the fossil. And this is what I have so far. Let me read it to you guys. Oh, and spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with nukes and like the mall or anything like that. It's not like I didn't, like, base it on that, but I took that. What I did take from the dream was that idea of taking a picture within a dream and then pulling it out, and I want to play with that idea within this story. But this is what I have so far. So here we go. It all began with a dream. Although I had no idea, I'm sorry, I fucked that up. Although I had no way of knowing how long it had been happening for. Bear with my shitty reading. Although I had no way of knowing how long it had been happening for, what I know for sure is that dreams and reality have been blurred ever since. We'd been discussing 9/11 in class, the most tragic attack on American soil ever. And then in parentheses I wrote, or in recent history. Because I was thinking about, like, it is, like, death toll wise, I believe it is like the most tragic attack, second to, like, let's say Pearl Harbor. There's like 3,000 plus people died in 9/11 versus in Pearl Harbor, I think it was like dozens or a couple hundred or something like that. But you have other tragedies like the Civil War, which is thousands, and that's technically American soil. So I might change the wording on that. So something like that is stuff that I do change, and I put, like, as I free write it, because I don't want to, like, lose, like, it's like I feel like I'm pulling, like, on a little string to a story, and I need to, like, keep pulling on it. But if I let it go, then that's it. It stops there, kind of thing. Even though I could free write, for example, a story, like I started free writing this on Friday, and I haven't looked at it until literally right now. And then I'll, continue free writing on it, the next time I pick it up, which will probably be later today or something like that. So it's interesting like that. Anyway, but something like that I would change. That's like the type of edits that I would make, like, on the second run when I transcribe it to the computer. All right, so let me get back to reading this. We'd been discussing 9/11 in class, the most tragic attack on American soil ever. And I'd been thinking about it on and off for the rest of the day, wondering how it felt to be one of the fallen thousands. Can you imagine the spike in fear level that comes with walking down the hall toward the office kitchen to stir up your morning coffee and casually glancing over your shoulder to the windows to find the nose of a 747? Then I put a question mark there because I don't know if the planes were actually 747s or 737s or whatever they were, type of planes they were. So I'm going to, like, fact check that. Casually glancing over your shoulder to the windows to find the nose of a 747 about to barrel into your building and taking you out of existence with the effortlessness of a bug zapper. How about what's going through the mind of a little girl inside of one of those weaponized planes with just enough awareness? And with weaponized, I put another question mark because I want a word, and I'm not sure if that's the right word or not to use, but I want a word that means turning the plane into a weapon. So I'm not sure if weaponized is the exact word to use, but that's something else that I would change, and if necessary, once I look into it more. And I'm doing that, like, second draft. How about what's going through the mind of a little girl inside of one of those weaponized planes with just enough awareness of the situation to know what was about to happen, but the innocence to not be able to fully process that she wasn't going to be able to run around at recess with her friends again? What does the mental debating got to feel like for the dozens of people that, and I put dozens in with the question mark again, because I don't know if it was actually dozens, but that's something else that I'll look into. What does the mental debating got to feel like for the dozens of people that chose to die by leaping out of the window of the burning skyscrapers rather than from the suffocating smoke inhalation? Can you imagine any of these scenarios? I mean, truly put yourself in these positions. Picture being one of the lucky people that didn't have to make that leap to your death choice, and making your way down the hundreds of flights of stairs, making your way toward the bottom and outside. Then, before reaching it, hearing the crushing certainty of the sounds of the building above collapsing into itself and taking you with it in the process. And that's literally all I have so far. So this, and it's probably going to lead to and this is like me freeballing right now. The protagonist that starts it off with, it all began with a dream, although I had no way of knowing how long it had been happening for. What I know for sure is that dreams and reality have blurred ever since, etc., etc. That protagonist is going to go on to explain how he, he was thinking about 9/11 so much. They were talking about it in class. He wound up having a dream about it. And this is how this whole thing started, which I'm not sure what that thing necessarily is yet. If it's like a teleportation type of thing or time travel type of thing or just like moving in and out of dreams type of thing. But where he wound up experiencing 9/11 firsthand, taking pictures of it, and winding up with those pictures on his phone, which are is virtually impossible. Aside of the fact from pulling shit from dreams like that is impossible. If you suspend disbelief for a second there to allow that, but it just in his world, in the world that I'm creating here, in his world, it's impossible in the sense that there's no iPhones in 2000. There's fucking StarTech, Motorola's, and shit like that. And for him to be, he's gonna want scroll through his pictures or some shit like that and bump into pictures of the towers and wondering if he downloaded them by mistake or what happened. Then he's gonna like see himself. Something has to happen to make him realize that it was his picture taking, and I'm gonna have to work that into the story. But yeah, it's gonna turn into something like that, and then we'll see where the story goes from there. Stay tuned. I can't let you guys know when it's gonna be out because I don't know, but it's most likely, hopefully, going to stay a short story, and you guys won't be waiting at the tips of your seats for this story for a couple years if I make it into a novel or some shit. But which is what happened with that rickshaw story, remember, that I told you guys about, which I'm still like working on and off, and it's like an ongoing project. And I thought it was like a little short story, that I started when I was in India, and it turned out to be something completely different. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got so far. Stay tuned. And again, I'll let you guys know when the actual story is out. I'll reference this episode and also do, the audiobook version of it so you guys can listen to it on this podcast. And that's pretty much it. That is the episode, folks, for this week. And we only have, 28 minutes in on the recorder. And that being the case, I'm going to do a little extensive house cleaning here and let you guys know how you can support the podcast. So if you want to stop listening now and don't want to hear me try to sell you shit, then feel free to bounce. But if not, then stick around for another 2 minutes. So I have, first off, I'm going to go through the whole kit and caboodle here. First off, I have a questionnaire on my website, which is open to anyone and everyone who is into writing or anything creative, and wants to share with us the answers to my 5 questions on the questionnaire, which is intended to for other people to hear it and gain tips or insight into your particular process and something that they could take away and apply to their particular process. And it doesn't have to be a writing tip for a writer. It could be a writing tip that a sculptor gains something from. And we've had a handful of them filled out that you guys have submitted, and I take those and read them out here on the podcast and share it with the rest of you. So it's people helping people type of thing. So check it out, and it's at spuntoday.com/questionnaire. I'm going to read through the questions really quick, just so you have an idea of what they are. Question number 1 is, relating to your craft, do you remember the first thing that you ever wrote or created? Question number 2, what inspires you to write or create? Question number 3, what is a hobby that you have that is unrelated to your craft? And this could be anything from what you're currently reading, a show you're watching, or to something you're experimenting with, etc. Question 4, how do you get yourself to sit down and do your work when you're not motivated to? And lastly, question 5, do you have any advice for other writers or creators, whether they're new, seasoned, or otherwise? And you absolutely have the option to remain anonymous. And if you don't, that's like the last thing on the bottom. It's like a little yes or no drop down. If you click, it says remain anonymous, question mark. If you click no, that means I'll say, give you a little shout out on the podcast here and say, who you are, your Twitter handle, or whatever, and give everybody your responses to the questions. And if you click yes, I'll keep you 100% anonymous and just read your questions, your answers to those questions on the podcast. So if you're interested, again, check it out. Go to spuntoday.com/questionnaire. And let's see, I have photos on my website at spuntoday.com/photography, which on my road trip, I plan to definitely take my camera, hopefully see some cool shit so I can, create some dope photography to share with you guys. But yeah, I have a photography section, spuntoday.com/photography, and no, legit official photographer, but I like taking pictures of shit. I've told that to you guys in the past, and it is still true. And you guys can check out all those pictures. You can download them if you want to use any for like screensavers. I like taking a lot of like landscape type pictures and nature and like shit like that. Just shit that I think looks cool. It doesn't have to be like just nature, but I have like buildings there, like architectural type photography, I guess you can call it, and just shit that looks dope to me. Things that catch my eye. So if you like any of them, check it out. You can download any of them for free. And if you happen to love them so much that you want to physically have them in your presence, you can now do so by going to crated.com. crated.com/spun today. And there you can make prints, you can make posters, you can print it onto a canvas. The photography that I've taken, that I've shared for free on the website, for digitally for free, you can go to crated.com/spun today and actually print them out and hang them up on your dining room table wall. So while you're sitting down eating with your families, you can glance up and look at some photography that will mentally take you to a different place when your kids are bitching and crying and your wife is complaining about something and you don't want to be there. No, let me stop. But yeah, check it out. And you can support me and the podcast by doing so. Also, go to spuntoday.com whenever you feel like shopping, whenever you feel like going to Amazon to buy something, or iTunes to download Drake's new album, which I hear mixed reviews on, or whatever it is that you're into within that realm. You want to download a new book or whatever, go to spuntoday.com/affiliate links. And there you will see banners to Amazon. You'll find banners to iTunes. And by clicking on those banners, it'll take you to those websites as normal, and where you can proceed to do your shopping as you were going to anyway. And what this does is just for you going to Amazon from my website and me technically driving traffic towards them, they give me and the Spun Today podcast a kickback of pennies on the dollar based on your purchases. So it literally does not cost you 1 cent extra. They just take a portion of their profits that they made off of you and selling you their merchandise and kick it back to me. So you can help the podcast financially by doing so, which is greatly appreciated. And it literally doesn't cost you shit. What What else? Make Way for You is an ebook and a paperback book that I wrote, and that is out there on Amazon. And you can also purchase it if you're interested at spuntoday.com/books, which you actually can't purchase it there. You just click on it and it's just going to take you to Amazon, where you could download it onto your Kindle, or purchase a print copy of the book. And also at that link, spuntoday.com/books, I give a little explanation of what the book is about, which is the subtitle sums it up pretty well. I think it's tips for getting out of your own way. It's a collection of freely written thoughts that motivated me to actually write a book, which is something that I wanted to do and have always just procrastinated on. And I felt that if it helped me, the biggest procrastinator ever, fucking get off my ass and actually do something, I figured I'd put it out there, and hopefully it could help someone else as well. And there are currently 4 audio excerpts that are free and that are on the website, spuntoday.com/books. It's me just reading an excerpt from the book, and it has some motivational music behind this, so it sounds a little I don't know, some people might think corny, some people think cool and motivating and upbeat and whatever. If you're into that type of shit, which I am and I like, check those out, and it also gives you an idea of what the book is about. And if you don't want to buy it for $2.99, which is the ebook price, and if you don't want to purchase the paperback, which is $7.99 and also includes a free ebook version of it, then you can scroll down to the bottom of the page at spuntoday.com/books, and if you tell me your first name, last name, and email address, I will send you a free copy of the book. That's right, folks, a free copy. spuntoday.com/books, and it's not a bullshit half of it and then make you pay for the other half. It's 100% the entire book for free. I will email it to you. And what else? Rate and review the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Pocket Cast, whatever the podcatcher that you use. Please rate and review the podcast. That's what helps the podcasts within the podcast realm gain momentum, and other people see it, because the ranking of your actual podcast goes up. The more it's rated favorably, the better it is, and the more visibility it gets. So that'll help out a lot. If you enjoy the podcast, why not just drop a 5-star rating on there? It'll probably take you like 3 seconds and mean a lot more to moi. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Spun Today on both. You can like the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/Spun Today. You guys can check out my YouTube videos, which include each and every one of these podcasts, as well as like these audio excerpts from the book. They're on there as well, and with some cool digital fucking screensaver looking things from back in the day going on with them. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of that. To find the YouTube page, go to youtube.com, just type in Spun Today. Or if you're on my website already, at the bottom you have links to Twitter, to Facebook, to email me, to Instagram, to the YouTube page, to the Tumblr page, which we're also on, and also has all of these podcast episodes on there as well. Fuck, this house cleaning shit is taking longer than usual, huh? Let's see what else. We're almost at the end, folks. Subscribe to my newsletter. I have a newsletter that I release every Monday. It's called the Midday Monday Boost Letter, and what it is 5 things that resonated with me in that past week. And it's every Monday at noon. You will receive one small email from me for free, which includes a photo of the week, just a dope photo that I've seen that I wanted to share with you guys so you guys can look at it. A podcast of the week, my favorite podcast that made the list, quote unquote. A video of the week, which could be like an interview, a TED Talk, a small Jason Silva video, or anything like that. Any visual video type of thing that I like. A quote of the week, which is usually like a motivational, inspirational, or thought-provoking quote, and a word of the week, because I like words, and I wanted to share cool, weird ones with you guys that I look up, that I hear, that I like, that sound cool, and I want to know what they mean, so I look them up and write them down, try to memorize them, and use them in the future in my own writing, and just have a very long list of a bunch of these types of words, and I share with you on the Midday Monday Boost letter. If you want to subscribe to that and receive that newsletter for free once a week, which has some dope shit in it, just go to spuntoday.com/subscribe. All you have to do is literally just type in your email address and click the button. And two more things. One is viralstyle.com/spun today. I've put out a couple of t-shirts through Viral Style, which is pretty cool company so far. And you can pretty much, for anybody that that just wants to design t-shirts, whether you're a podcaster or you just want to design t-shirts and see if they fucking sell, feel free to go on viralstyle.com, create an account. They have a cool interface. It's very user friendly. You can design your own t-shirt and pretty much put it for sale for 7 days or something like that for free. And if any of them sell, the more you sell, the more your percentages. So if you sell a shirt, you get, if you sell one shirt for, I think it's $19.99 or something like that, you probably get half of that or something like that. But the more you sell, the more money you get. So it's not, if you're doing mad numbers, it's not the place to go for making money purposes, financial purposes. But if you want zero upfront cost, zero upfront risk, and just want to put something out there and work with a company that's by so far, from all accounts and purposes, are pretty dope. I'm waiting to see the actual physical shirts from the first sale, and I want to see the quality of them so I can speak to that. But in terms of user friendliness and zero risk and stuff like that, I'm completely fine with the split. And check it out. viralstyle.com/spun today. In the future, going to continue using them until I blow the fuck up, and then just purchase my own shirts or something like that, or get a better split or whatever. But until that time comes, check out viralstyle.com/spun today. And not just my shirts, because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing in terms of t-shirts, but they have tons of other artists and people on there selling shirts. So maybe you'll like something else that you see on there. And since I don't have an official sponsorship with Viral Style, but I know Joe Rogan does, he recently mentioned it. I heard of Viral Style on I want to say Steve Simone's podcast, and not because they were a sponsor, but they were speaking about something about sponsorships, and somebody said in passing, oh yeah, companies like Viral Style and stuff like that, and some guys say yeah, stuff like that, and blah blah, and they continued the conversation. Then I looked at Viral Style, and I looked into it, checked out the company ratings and stuff like that, and figured I'd give it a whirl and try it. And then recently I heard that Rogan, they sponsored Rogan's podcast, which is pretty cool. And they, with the coupon code Rogan, ROGAN, you get 10% off for shopping there. So if you decide to purchase one of my shirts, use Rogan's promo code, you'll get 10% off. They'll get credit, I guess, for the sale, even though sponsorships pay up front in advance just for being mentioned. But whatever, it's a win-win. You get 10% off, so why not? Why leave money on the table when you don't have to? And you'll be supporting a dope podcast. And lastly, and this is the last one, folks. This is the last plug. Patreon. Patreon.com/Spun Today. It's a way that you can support podcasts by episode. So if you love this particular episode and think it's so dope and you want to throw a buck or two my way, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Spun Today. You can, I guess, select the episode that you want to donate to or towards or whatever, and do so through there. But if you're feeling that generous, you can also just go to spuntoday.com/affiliate links. There's also a PayPal donation button there that you guys can check out if you see fit. That's it, folks. That's the episode. And wish me luck. I will speak to you guys again soon when I'm back from the road trip, the much needed getaway. As always, substitute the mysticism with hard work and start taking steps in the general direction of your dreams. Thanks for listening.